Hey guys, Tom here. Today I'm starting a project that's been a long time coming and probably a long time finishing. Stick around. So today I'm starting something that we've been wanting to do since we moved into this house a little over a year ago. And that's improve the basement into living space. Now, I'm certain that this is a project that a lot of people have either done or want to do or think about doing. Improving your living space and getting more room is something that we all need. So one of the perks of this house was a big basement. This has about, I think about 1,500 feet, if my math is right. I've measured it up and sketched it out to try to get a plan of what we want to do. And the first thing I want to do is I have to build a partition right here. And I'm going to do this project a little bit unorthodox. Generally speaking, you would insulate the walls, put up a vapor barrier, make sure your basement is dry, which is the first thing you need to do if you're thinking about improving your basement area, is make sure it's dry, because you could have nightmares down the road. There's a lot of videos on how to do that. Basically what you do is on the floor and the wall, you just put a big square of plastic, you tape it down, you leave it there for maybe a week, 10 days, and you see if either behind the plastic or on top of the plastic you have moisture, and that'll tell you what your problem is. If it's on top of the plastic, you have moisture in the air. If it's underneath the plastic, you have moisture seeping in either from the floor or the wall, and you're gonna have to take care of it accordingly. When we moved in here, we just moved all our stuff in here. The basement is kind of full, so I can't really just clear it out or move everything around and finish the basement like in insulation, walls, finishing, that like in stages that you do each step the whole way around. I'm going to do sections at a time. And the first section I'm going to do is right where you guys are, and that's the storage area. As you can see from my plan, this is like a little bit of a bump out. The septic goes out of the house over there. And I think I have about 300 feet or so of room that we're going to make storage of. We have rolling racks, and I'm going to put up some other shelving and whatnot. So that way, once I get that set up, I can move a good portion of the stuff into here, or at least some of the stuff, and have more room to work at here and go in stages. So right here is my beam. I've already did a little preliminary, what I just rust sealed this beam. I'm not going to paint it. We're not going to finish it because the beam is going to be on your side of the wall that I'm going to build right here. There is where the bump out ends is right here. So I'm going to build a wall that's flush with that bump out. It runs straight across where this pole is and continues down to that side wall. And then I'll have a wall where I can put shelves in the back or whatever. And then there's going to be sliding barn doors here to gain access to this room. So that's what I'm going to work on today. So I hope you stick around throughout this project, because there's going to be framing, electrical, probably not a lot of plumbing, storage ideas, flooring, drywall, painting, finishing, and I'll put up videos as I go along this project. Hopefully you'll get something out of it. I'll tell you right now, it's not going to be the ideal way for everybody to do their basement, because like I said, I have to go a little bit of a different route as I'm doing this, just for my situation. But hopefully it'll help you learn that you know, if you have to modify a project for your own specific needs, that you can do that and you're still going to get great results. So let me get started. Like I said, I did some preliminary work. I sealed the beam. I got some layout ideas. So let me get going and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is where the bump out ends that I was telling you about. And originally, I was gonna insulate with rigid insulation all the way around and then build the wall right here. I don't know if you can see, but I had it marked out to build the wall right here. But then we decided we're not gonna insulate right now because the basement is dry and this block foundation, it really keeps it cool in the summertime, and in the wintertime, we're gonna, at the end of this wall going this way, in that corner, we're gonna have a pellet stove. So that's gonna keep it warm in the wintertime. So insulating is obviously something we can do later on, but for now we're just gonna paint the walls, put up some other finishings and call it quits for now. So the second way, so since I'm doing it that way, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build my wall so it finishes flush with this block. So my end stud is gonna be right here, and then I just have to allow for my finished wall, which is gonna be drywall. So all I'm gonna do is just measure in a 1/2 inch for the drywall. So it'll be more or less flush with this, and then run my wall that way. So I have my plumb line here, which is gonna be where the stud goes, and I've also marked it on the ground, so that's where my bottom plate is gonna go that way. So what I wanna do is, and this is, I'm gonna build this wall in, I don't know if you know the term, it's called stick framing. Basically, I'm gonna put the bottom plate down and secure each stud as I go, cut and measure, or measure and cut each stud as I go, rather than building the wall and standing it up. So I wanna make sure this wall is not only flush with this side wall, but also hopefully square to this wall. Now, these blocks are square, so you would think it would be. So I'm gonna put my square, my framing square up, strike a line, and then I'm also gonna put a straight edge against that wall, strike another line, and this should be 1/2 inch between those two lines. Well, it's a little more, but that's accounting for the pencil line, but these two lines are parallel. So I'm pretty sure, I'm confident that this line is the outside line of where I'm gonna put my bottom pressure treated plate. Right like that. So I'm gonna get that in, make sure it's set, even, flush, square, whatever I need it to be, and then I'll be ready for my uprights. I finally have my board set where I want it. But before I anchor it, what I need to do is figure out where my opening is gonna be for my barn doors, because that part of the plate's gonna get cut away, and I don't wanna anchor and glue where that's gonna be and then have a problem later. So between the pole and the wall here, there's a support pole for the beam, and that is about 11.3. So I'm gonna have a 6-foot opening. So half of 11 is 5.5. So if I measure to 5.5, and then I go 3 feet on either side, I know this is my no drill and anchor zone for this board. So let me get to that. Okay, so this is what I've done so far. I laid my bottom plate, and that took quite a while because the beam wasn't exactly square to this wall. So when I laid the thing flush, it just kind of looked weird. So what I did is I dropped the plumb line from the edge of the beam down to the floor, and I marked that at several spaces, and then I marked that line. And then I laid out my bottom plate and I started to drill for the anchors, and then I realized I forgot to do my 1/2 inch offset to allow for the drywall. So I had to make another line, and by that time I had so many lines I didn't know what was what. So I ended up just marking down here, marking down there, striking a line with a chalk line that was red so I could differentiate what was what. And then I put those in, and that took a while because I had to drill with a hammer drill, and some of them were easier to get in than others. And then I put some glue down, put the board down, drove them in with some Tapcon anchors, and I'm good to go. And then over here, I put my first stud against the wall. Again, I plumbed it up, drilled it, glued and Tapcon it to the wall, and then I had to go around this drain pipe. So I just put a little side piece on and then another stud, and then up here I wasn't sure what to do. With the first one I just notched out the whole board, but I decided it was better if I just notched out for the beam itself, and that worked out well. So I just got to finish the rest of the wall, allow for my opening for the doorway. I'll show you that when I get to it. Okay, that's the first part complete. I have this wall, I have a nice big 6-foot opening for the barn doors that are going to be installed. The next thing I'm going to do, well, before I tell you the next thing, this took me a while because, like I told you, I had to stick frame this. I cut each one individually. It was a custom cut, so that took a while. And my layout took a while because I made some mistakes because I had a plan in my head, but I should have put it on paper so I could double check and make sure I had things the way I needed them. I didn't, and it dawned on me after the fact. Fortunately, I didn't have anything installed yet, so I could just go back and fix it. But the next thing I'm going to do is down in that corner, that's where the stove's going to be. So I have to build the hearth for that corner so I can figure out what has to be cement board and what has to be drywall, because we're going to have like a stone wall hearth back there. So that's the next part of this project. I have a storage room partition, so I'll have a lot more storage, because I think on the back side of this wall, I think I'm going to sheet it with plywood. That way I can put up shelves and just take advantage of all the space that I have. So that's it for me, guys. I'm going to take off, relax. Until I see you next time, remember, take care of yourself and your home. I'll see you soon.